we're going to get going. So good evening, everyone. I'd like to call our meeting to order. Roll call vote, please, Jenny.
Mrs. Conlon-Wasik.
Here.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack.
Here.
Mr. Nergy.
Here.
Mr. Reynoso.
Here.
Mr. Sloan.
Here.
Mr. Thorson.
Here.
Ms. Westfall.
Here.
Okay, motion carries. We have a quorum. Dean, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Okay, item 4, approval of agenda. Board action is requested. I move the Board of Education approve the June 24th, 2021 board meeting agenda as presented. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Amy. Is there any discussion? Would anyone like to remove anything from the agenda at this time? Okay. Roll call vote, please, Jenny.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack.
Yes.
Mr. Nergy.
Yes.
Mr. Reynoso.
Yes.
Mr. Sloan.
Yes.
Mr. Thorson.
Yes.
Ms. Westfall. Ms. Conlon-Wasik.
Yes, motion carries. Item 5, the consent agenda. I move the Board of Education approve the consent agenda as follows. Board of Education meeting minutes, payment of bills, treasurer's report, personnel, board policy adoption, and field trips as presented. I need a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion from the board members?
I just wanted to tell everybody that we have an actual field trip on this one. It is for the North Band going to Disney in Florida. So things are slowly returning back to normal.
That is wonderful news. Any other board members?
Just one thing in the Board of Education meeting minutes for April 29th. There's 2 mentions of the CNADA adjournment and no mention coming back into session. So that just has to be corrected.
Okay, we'll get Jenny onto that. Thank you so much. Is there anything else? Okay, what I can do is I can
make it as amended.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You can actually, you can always move to approve it as amended.
Yeah, we can move to approve it as an amendment. We have not done that yet, but I'm thinking we would do that first, and then we would approve the consent agenda. I think that's what we're going to do. So I move the Board of Education approve the amendment as outlined by Dean. I need a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please, Jenny.
Mr. Nergy.
Yes.
Mr. Reynoso.
Yes.
Mr. Sloan.
Yes.
Mr. Thorson.
Yes.
Ms. Westfall.
Yes.
Mrs. Conlon-Wasik.
Yes.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, back to the approval of the agenda. I move the Board of Education approve the June 24th, 2021 board meeting agenda as presented. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please, Jenny.
Mr. Reynoso.
Yes.
Mr. Thorson.
Yes.
Mr. Nergy.
Yes.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack.
Yes.
Mr. Sloan.
Yes.
Ms. Westfall.
Yes.
Ms. Conlon-Wasik.
Yes. Motion carries. All righty. Now we're at board reports. As this is our last board meeting of the year, are there any final reports?
Kathleen,
Yes?
we have one of our new staff members.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Do we want to do some celebration?
If we could, that'd be great.
Yes, we could. I'm so sorry. Danielle, I'm so sorry. Yes, let's have our celebration. Go ahead, Dan. Do you want to?
Yeah, somewhere, and he's bouncing around my screen, is Douglas Schiller. And he is our newest administrator in the district. He is the department chair for special education at Central. Through the process, a collaboration that we did with district and building, he came out way in front of other candidates, and we are thrilled to be working with him. You can see Mark Kettering over on the side of the screen smiling because our interactions have just been fantastic. We're just thrilled to have him as part of our team. He comes from North Shore Academy, which is a private school, so he knows how to pivot very quickly, which is going to really help our students. And he's just got a great, I would say, calm leadership style. So he's going to fit in well with our team, and really with the new hire of the DC at North, we're revamping special education as we know it in the district. And again, Mark over there with the smile.
Fantastic. Douglas, is there anything you'd like to say?
Just thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be joining this district. I've already had a chance to sit with Mark and Dan a couple of weeks ago and start hearing about the vision for this upcoming year, and really excited to be a part of it. So thank you all.
Thank you for joining us and becoming part of our learning community. Any other board members have anything they'd like to say?
Douglas, I was actually talking to Dan before, as he was getting ready to interview you, and he was very excited to get through that process, and even spoke very highly of you even before you came on board. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Thank you so much, Douglas. We're looking forward to hearing more from you and all the great things that you're going to do with our special education department. And thank you so much for joining us and being part of our family, as I said before. We so appreciate you coming here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mikkel, can I move ahead? Yes, I've been given the okay. All right, thumbs up from Mikkel. All right. Thank you, everyone. And sorry about that, Danielle. Moving very quickly this evening. Okay, board reports for board members. Do you have anything that you would like to add now that we're coming to the end of this unprecedented year?
I'll just say that I attended the North's graduation ceremony, and it was spectacular in every way. And I just want to, I just so appreciated everyone's efforts to make that happen and the way they did it. So thank you, everyone. And it's an honor to be able to be there. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. And did we have anyone attend Central? Did we have some Central?
Yeah, I attended Central, and it was fabulous as well. And we got a lot of great feedback from lots of folks. Excited to do this year after year, and kudos to everybody.
Thank you.
I was at Central also, and I will second everything that Douglas just said. It was a fabulous event, and it was just great to be part of that and see all the great young students that Grace Lake Central has produced, and the future for them is just limitless.
Thank you so much, Hal. All righty. Okay. All righty. Well, we're going to move on at this time to our superintendent's report. Mikkel.
Okay, I've got a couple of, I'm glad, Amy, I'm glad you brought up graduation. We talked about it a little bit. I've got a couple of pictures and quick video clips to show about graduation. But more importantly, more pressingly, you may notice we have some students who are in on the meeting, and I don't think it's just because they love attending board meetings in the summer. We have some very, as you know, we have some very talented students, and we have Coach Murphy here, I believe, and Mr. Landry, who would like to honor some of our extraordinarily talented students. Can I kick it to you, Dan and Sean?
Sure. As I was wandering around my town, as watching the IHSA girls state track finals unfold, I was sending like really excitedly geeky texts to everybody going, okay, with 4 events left, we have 42 points and we can, and for a good bit, based on one of the students that's here, we were actually in the lead of the girls' state at the biggest level. When you look at the other teams that were in the top 5, we're 2,000 students fewer than these other schools that we're competing against. And all of the girls really did a tremendous job all year. And these are just the ones who medaled. The rest of the team really, I would say, Sean, they gelled, right? And just they were all great teammates to one another. So, as I'm out there watching them run and happy that I wasn't joining them, it was fun to just, go, yeah, keep turning left, go fast, and, it was just a great season. So I'm going to have Sean talk about it because he was there every day.
Yeah. First off, can y'all hear me pretty well? I'm in my truck right now.
Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry, we just got back, literally just landed from California. Honestly, Mr. Landry hit it right in the head. This was an amazing group of girls all year long. First off, talking about our whole team, it was nice. We were one of those first sports to be able to come back and truly, quote unquote, get to normal, if you will, and start to participate and have fun. Obviously, we didn't know what to expect this season, but the number one thing is when we talk about our track team, we don't just talk about our team, we talk them as a family. And that's truly what these girls are. They really came together, really pushed each other, and really got the most out of what we can get. Because like Mr. Landry said, we are not a very large school at all in comparison to those 3A schools we go against. And then in terms of dedication, you're going to be hearing from or meeting our state placers and state champion. And dedication and work ethic is second to none with any of these girls. So in all honesty, this year was just a blessing. After all the work and all the things that went through with COVID and everything else, to be able to come out, finish 5th in state as a team, and almost trophy, that would have just been a little cherry on the cake. But I'll tell you right now, everything was great. I don't care how we finished as a team. All I cared is how we competed, and our girls showed up and got it done. So I don't know if you want me to go through one by one with our girls, or if you just want them to introduce themselves and kind of say what they did.
Can you introduce them, Sean, and then they can talk about their accomplishments? That'd be great.
Sure. Then let's get it started with our 4x8. Sorry, my son is really crabby after a 2-hour drive, a 4-hour flight, and now we get to drive again. But our state event got kicked off on the track. I'm sorry, can you give me 1 second?
Why don't we have the girls introduce themselves? And
All right, hold on. I think we're good now. I think we're good. So we kicked it off on the track with our 4x8 relay. That went Bryn Sato to Grace Koken to Sophia Witt to Bella Domeyer. And the beauty of that, with all 4 of those girls, they're all coming back next year. We've got 2 freshmen and 2 junior on that team. So those 4 got us started. Bella Domeyer followed it up, finished 2nd in the 800 relay, which was quite a feat, especially considering that the girls that went 1-2 were both freshmen in the state of Illinois for 3A. And then you move over to the field side of things. And over in pole vault, we had junior Mia Morello finished 2nd in pole vault. And she, actually, I'll say a little thing after that, but she had a great season, finished 2nd there. And then Julia Regaluski is only our 2nd ever female state champion. But she kind of topped Katie Schrader by being able to go and win it in 2 events. She won shot put and discus this year, which is a tough thing to do, a really tough thing to do. Along the way, Julia broke the shot put school record, the discus school record. Mia broke the pole vault school record. Our 4x8 team broke the 4x8 school record. Bella Domeyer also broke the 800 school record, the mile and the 2 miles. So pretty high caliber of talent from all those girls. Would you like them to introduce themselves?
yeah, I think that would be great.
Awesome. Then let's go on ahead. Let's start it off with our senior state champion, Julia Reguluski.
Hi. So my name's Julia. Can you all hear me? Okay. Yeah, I mean, this season was just phenomenal. I'm so happy I was so happy to be like back in the building. Yeah, alone like have two state champ titles under my belt. It was pretty awesome way to end my senior year. I mean, it was so amazing. That's just the best way to put it. I mean, I love my teammates. We were just such a high caliber team this year. Yeah, the way we like dominated the track and then that family atmosphere that we kept was just, it was amazing. It was like it was two sides. We were a great family, but we could kick butt on the track at the same time. So like I said, it was just a phenomenal season. And I'm so proud of all my teammates. And yeah, thank you guys for having me on this meeting. I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
All right, let's go to our next. Let's go to our junior pole vaulter, Mia Morello.
I'm Mia Morello. I don't know. Can you guys all hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
You're muted now, Mia.
You muted yourself, Mia.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm the pole vaulter, but I'm also the 300 hurler, and I went also down in the 100. I didn't run the 100s, but I ran the 3. But I would have to say that this team was absolutely amazing. This year is actually one of my favorite years, even like with COVID and everything. I just loved the team aspect we had and the talent that everyone brought to the table. And I think coming down, this is my first year at state, and it was honestly, I had such a blast, and I couldn't have a better team this year. So I would have to give thanks to them because they did amazing.
All right, let's go to our next junior on the 4x8 team who took 4th, Bryn Sato.
My name is Bryn. I ran the 4x8 at state, and I also ran the 4x4. But yeah, I agree with everything Julia and Mia were saying, like with the team, like honestly, I was so thankful to even have a season this year, and just like the team was so amazing and we all like came together. But I'll talk a little bit about like our actual state experience. So it was really fun. It was really hot. It was really hot. But we also had like a 4-hour rain delay, which was unfortunate, but honestly, like the bonding that we were able and like the time we were able to spend together during that rain delay was honestly like so much fun. But yeah, it was a really good experience and I had so much fun this year.
All right, you'll get a chance now to meet from that 4x8 relay, junior Grace Koken.
Hi, I'm Grace. I was also on 4x8, but yeah, I agree with what everyone else has said. But I'll kind of talk more about like our season. We did have some scares kind of early on, and that only made everyone else drive to get to those later meets because I don't know if everyone can hear me, but because we didn't know how our season would end up playing out and if we would be able to have state meet, have a section meet, or even compete at all. So I think how everyone came together and really worked hard this whole season has been the greatest it's been for my 3 years been here, and the team really got well together. So, yeah.
Awesome, thanks, Grace. And now we are going to go to freshman. She ran the 3rd leg of that 4x8, Sophia Witt.
Hi guys, good evening. I'm Sophia Witt, and I ran the 3rd leg of the 4x8, and I also ran the 3rd leg of the 4x4. All I want to say is I had so much fun this year, and I couldn't ask for a better team or a better coach. And I can't wait to do this all again next year, especially since we'll have the same 4x8 team. And Julia, we all will miss you so much, and I think I'm talking on behalf of everyone. You are irreplaceable, and honestly, I don't know what we're going to do without you next year. But thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Well said. And that's going to bring us to our last competitor, Bella Domeyer, who was the fourth, or our anchor leg in the 4x8 that got fourth, and she took second as an individual in the open 800. So Bella Domeyer.
Hi guys, I'm Bella Domeyer, and I ran the 4x8, the mile, and the 800. And I have to say how I'm so proud of everyone on this team and how much we improved. And the team bonding, like everyone said, was really, state was a big part of that because of the rain delay, and we just got so much more time to spend with each other. I'm really glad that we got to do that, and I want to thank our coaches, our program, and my lovely teammates for such a fun year.
Does the board or anybody else have any questions for any of the competitors?
This is Mr. Nergi. I was lucky enough, my son was in the track team, and I was lucky enough to watch you young ladies, compete. And you guys, it was not only fun to watch the domination, but you guys held yourself as Rams. I mean, there were some girls and boys that were, the last person on the track, and you guys were all very enthusiastic and just cheering them on. So you held yourselves like Rams, and good sportsman people. I don't know if sportsmanship is still the right word, but you have a lot to be proud of.
I just am so proud of you guys. I'm a runner myself, so you guys, I can't wait till next year. I'm so excited that so many are younger, so I will definitely be at some track and cross country meets next year. I couldn't go because they were limiting it to parents. We want to be safe this year, but I'll definitely be seeing you run. Congratulations. And hopefully maybe someday you'll run a marathon or something.
Track was always my favorite sport in high school, and so I listened to this with keen interest, and I watched on Twitter and on the streams and stuff, and so I'm just really I'm excited to see what comes. But I'm so keenly interested in how you all speak of the team aspect of this as well, because running is such an individualized sport. And you are so keenly into working as a team together. So not just with obviously the relays, but all together. So congratulations to all of you.
And honestly, just the comments you made here just show what type of sportsmanship and just gave me a good idea of how your team was more like a family, and it's amazing and surprising, and just to see how well you guys did against schools that are like 2,000 students bigger than us. It's truly a statement of your own talent and your work ethic and how well you guys did together, and I couldn't be any prouder. This is very amazing, ladies.
Thank you all very much. You did us proud. We couldn't have asked for more. After this year, it was just wonderful. You're bringing great news to the end of our year. So thank you so much.
Right, so I think you're seeing why, I mean, this year obviously was a crazy year, particularly with athletics, as we all know, but I think you heard why the effort to get that all to work as best we could was so important. And the accolades and the awards, and that's all fine. But what I mean is what you heard about the family and about the team and about supporting each other, right? So that is, that's why we do it. And that's why Coach Murphy does it, I think. And that's why our athletes do it. So really great to hear. That's some of the stuff that I think we're looking forward to hearing more of when we're more in person. And so looking forward to that for sure. So thank you all. So I'm going to move kind of quickly. 1 second, I'm going to share my screen. All right. There we go. So I just wanted to show a couple of pictures of some of our end of the year activities really quickly. Around the screen, you can see some of the pictures from our Institute Day in May, where teachers are really talking about or working on next year, working on the block scheduling and everything that's going to entail. So that was a great event put on by Tracy and the instructional coaches and many, many others. But we also had an end of the year celebration for some of our staff, our service award winners and our service award recipients rather. And then just this little clip, these are our retirees. It was all done outside on the field at North. But these folks were asked to come down and get a hand and get a high five from Nigel. So that's just a little taste of some of the stuff that how that event played out, and many, many thanks to Danielle and her staff for making that work. Again, in a very unique environment. So with that,
hey, Mikkel, real quick.
Yes, sorry.
Do we need to dismiss any of the students?
Students, yeah, absolutely. If students, you are more than welcome. Stay for the entire meeting, of course. But if you have other things to do, I don't think anybody would blame you, put it that way. So if you're going to leave us, thank you very much again. And I hope you have a great summer and great next year. And thanks for coming.
Yeah, by all means, stay if you want to. I'm not trying to kick anyone out, but I'm sure you all have other fun things to do too.
Absolutely. Okay. So just a few, just a few pictures here of graduation. Again, they were going on simultaneously, so we got as many pictures as we could. I ran over to Central before I had to be over at North and got a few pictures there, but you know, as you can imagine, just so many great images, so many great, it was two great events, frankly. So what I want to do is just show a couple of really quick clips that because I was at North, I was able to take these. The student speaker at the North graduation was Emily Dominguez, and she is a member of our Deaf and Hard and Hearing program. So I recorded very briefly some of her comments, and I thought this was just such a nice touch, and this is Emily.
Each and every one of you has made an impact. Thank you. You made it. I am sure I am not alone when I say first time our black town or black country. Many other days to our graduation. Tonight is the night when we should all be proud of ourselves. Go ahead and get yourself proud on the heart.
So again, just a very quick taste of that. It was just a great event. And of course, at the end, at both campuses, we had this. So I'll leave it there just very quickly. All in all, just a great night, and the fireworks tribute to, or definite shout out to Abe and to Dan Gonzalez and the entire, the staff of both buildings to make that work and to pull that off. So once again, great event. I think we learned a lot, and probably many of the things that we learned over the last 2 years of graduation, I think are going to carry over. We had to, you know, creativity loves constraints, and they came up with some great things and found like, hey, there's some really cool things we can do with this, particularly with, you know, involving parents and involving, well, anyway, I'll leave it there. I think I can stop sharing my screen.
I have to say, everyone who wasn't involved in the graduation ceremonies was very surprised by the fireworks display.
Yeah, I don't know how it played out at Central. At North, again, this is, you know, Jim Roscoe's flair for the dramatic sometimes. So everybody's there, the lights are on in the stadium, and Jim says, you know, before everybody goes, we have one surprise. Lights go down, pitch black, you know, and ooh, and then things start going off. So it was a very nice event. And I know at Central was, we could see him over the trees at Central too. So I know it was a beautiful event there too.
If I can add, he also said, "Be the spark."
Yeah, right.
He had the element of the words, of using good words and language. So
The fireworks were a nice touch, for sure.
I think I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but when you mentioned adding special things and parents, that was extra special.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. So,
or family members, whoever, not always parents, but whoever the special people were in their lives.
Very definitely.
Incredible.
Well, so as I say, I just wanted to give you a quick taste of that. As far as the COVID update, I don't have much to update you on. Thankfully, numbers are still going in the right direction. We had our weekly meeting with Lake County Health. Positivity rate is under 1%, which is fantastic. Right now, to be honest with you, we're kind of waiting on the State Board of Education to release some new school guidance. Everyone's waiting with bated breath, and many superintendents are writing many letters requesting that we get those out as soon as possible, that guidance out as soon as possible, so that as soon as that comes through, we'll be digging through that and see how that affects our year. But all signs point to a normal-ish year, more normal than last year for sure. So with that, that's the end of my report. If you have any questions. If not,
Okay.
that's it.
I think silence is good on this one for a change. Yeah. Okay, I think we can move on to item 9, which is public participation. If anyone would like to present to the board, or they may do so at this time. We ask that you give us your name, and each person has 3 minutes to speak. And Mikkel, is there anyone in our Zoom room who would like to speak?
I don't believe in the Zoom room, but we have somebody here who would like to address the board. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I was making assumptions. My fault. Nope. We have a community member in the room with us, and welcome. Thanks. But as far as I know, I can't see anybody on the.
Yeah, there's no public on the Zoom meeting.
Great, thank you. I've got too many windows open.
Yeah, it's okay. I figured your screen was kind of busy.
Yep, a little bit.
I cannot see anyone either, so if it's okay, I will take this opportunity to close public participation. All righty, so we'll move on. We do not have a first closed session at this time. We do not have any continuing business at this time, so we'll move on to committee reports. Douglas, Facilities and Finance.
Yes, besides everything that's on the agenda tonight, we also went over 2 other things. The tentative budget for 2021, 2022. Thank you everybody for attending. We also went over the sustainability kind of plan and preliminary just thoughts. So all those were good discussions, but that was it. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Douglas. We'll move on to Programming, Policy, and Personnel. Erin.
Yes, and sorry my computer's being fitzy tonight, but this is the last time. As we already discussed, we have our first field trip approved. Yay. We also talked about summer school, and and some of the other things that are going on in summer activities. The good news is that we have a lot of teachers, after being through such a challenging year, who are still active and engaged and participating. And I mean, I don't know if they're excited for next year, but they're definitely, it just makes me smile that they're not going, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. So, you know, that's wonderful. The other news is that we don't have the summer school numbers don't feel, they're lower, but not so low to be causing for concerns. But there is a smaller than normal number for the bridge program. So that's something that may require some resources in the fall. We don't know. We won't know. Right? So that's one thing. And then we did some administrative policy. It was pretty much changing language to, but next month is going to be the first of our General Assembly dumps. So be aware that we'll have a lot of policy next month. And then, of course, it's the time of year that Danielle is busier than busy, and we have a lot of personnel that we're already on there. So busy meetings. It's always.
Thank you so much, Erin. We will move along to the Illinois Association of School Boards and Dean. Dean,
as I managed to unmute myself, there, as Jenny has kept us up to date with, there are several meetings that are going on, and the only new things that there hasn't been anything too surprising at the end of the year for IASB. There were a couple of surprises coming out of the legislative session, but that'll be handled more in the changes that Erin has to deal with in terms of the policy stuff. Just a reminder to everyone, if you're interested in the seminars and the attending the conferences in the fall, get your interest level into Jenny. That's about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Dean. Appreciate it. CEDAW, Jonathan.
Yeah, there was a meeting on June 2nd to go over the budget for the upcoming year. They discussed, using like what we're doing here in the district, how are we using these new funds that we're receiving from the federal government, ESSER 1 and 2. So they spoke on that as well. And then we elected new officers to the governing board.
Okay, thank you. And Amy, Legislative Ed Red.
Yes, just getting caught up with some Ed Red things, and I'm having a kind of an introductory phone call with the new executive director of Ed Red next week.
Okay, so more to come on that, right?
More to come.
More to come.
More to come.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We will move along. We have item 12, new business, and let me see. We have item 12A, Board of Education agenda. Possible changes. Jenny has some thoughts on freshening up our online. I think Jenny's frozen.
Are you there? Okay, I'm here.
Yeah, we've got you now, Jenny.
Okay.
Good.
So I just want to bring up a few things. I've been doing some trainings through ISB during this COVID year, trying to streamline and keep up with all the new changes getting thrown our way. So a few things I would like to discuss with you guys is one thing ISB is stressing is to streamline the Board of Education, the regular meetings, which is this one. And a few things I noticed on our old agenda that we can actually put under consent are field trips and donations. Both of those items, as long as we discuss them, which we do currently at our committee level, you guys are just final stamping those because we're never going to turn down a donation. And field trips are usually discussed at length at the committee meeting. So those were two of the areas they suggested to move to the consent agenda to streamline your meetings. So that was my first suggestion from ISB. And then the second one is just getting away from some duplicate information that is shared with you guys in Board Book now that we are all comfortable using Board Book online. And if you guys recall, under the consent agenda and the new business and personnel, I usually have an extra PDF basically just restating what I'm typing in all of those informational boxes for you. So what I'm asking is if I could do away with the additional PDFs under consent agenda and under new business. I will keep it under personnel. Danielle and I have discussed we like the outline of the personnel. That is a very short snippet picture for you if you want to click in there without reading all of the letters, but the outline is there under each heading on who we are hiring, who's requesting leave, who's resigning. So those are the few things that I would just like for you all to consider to just help streamline our meetings a little bit better. So I will turn it back over to Kathleen or answer any questions if anyone has questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jenny. We appreciate you keeping, going to those meetings and bringing back information to help us along. Board members, I don't know if you're prepared to speak about this evening. Should we move this to our policy and programming to discuss it there, or would you guys like to discuss it this evening?
Is it normal to move it to the committee, or would we, I mean, the things Jenny's been mentioning do make sense to streamline the work, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too, but different board members have different levels of information they like. They might like to see it a little bit more or think about it a little bit more, because for some of them it's the first time they've heard it. And so we like to give people that opportunity.
Good point.
I'm okay to move ahead.
You're okay to move ahead with it?
I'm okay, but if there's any board member that wants to kick it back to PQ, I'll respect that.
Okay.
As will I.
I'm good with moving it forward as well.
Okay. Erin, what are your thoughts?
No, I think that's fine. My only thing is, especially, we're not normal yet with the rest of the world. So like international field trips and stuff, just everybody just take a peek at P Cubed before, make sure you get to me any information or anything you want to say.
Okay. Let's see, Jay, do you have any thoughts? Okay, Amy.
I'm fine having a discussion here and not necessarily in P Cubed.
Okay.
And it sounds to me like the streamlining piece makes sense to me. I don't need duplication of information, and I like being able to look at a PDF with the information I need. And so looking at personnel information is good. And I'm fine certainly with the concept of having field trips within the consent agenda. That makes sense to me. But I agree with Erin that this is good that we're having this discussion, that board members need to be aware of it as they're looking through the consent agenda, that field trips might be coming through now, that they haven't been. We now have this coming through, and this has been certainly a conversation point. So just to be aware of that. And certainly if we want to discuss it, then we could pull it from the consent agenda and move
Absolutely.
it. There's always that option, but to certainly be aware of it.
Okay, it looks like, Jay, did you have anything that you wanted to add? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
I think Dean had something.
Yeah, one quick question.
Oh, sorry, Dean.
No, just saying, it sounds like the field trips, do we intend to still have the field trips reviewed by the P-Cube committee and then just put it in there? That's just wanted to clarify.
Yes, they have to be on the P-Cubed agenda to be put onto the board agenda, so they would never come straight to the board.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that.
All righty, so it looks like Mikkel, the board has made a decision about what it wants to do, and if you could go ahead and you and Jenny make those updates then for us. Thank you. Look forward to seeing it and testing it out next month. Thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much. Yeah, thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we're going to move on. Let's see, board policy first reading. We do not have any of this month, Erin, so we're just going to move ahead on to item 12C, recommendation to approve the resolution authorizing disposal of records. Board action is requested. I move the Board of, oh, actually, you know what? It's got my name on it. I'll read it. I move the Board of Education approve the resolution authorizing the disposal of records as discussed and recommended by the Facilities and Finance Committee. I need a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I don't see any emojis. Okay, roll call vote, please, Jenny.
Ms. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Sloan?
Yes.
Mr. Reynoso?
Yes.
Mr. Nurgi?
Yes.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack?
Yes.
Mrs. Conlon-Wasik?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. D, recommendation to approve the Panorama contract. Board action is requested. Again, Douglas, I think you should be saying this.
Yeah, it's okay.
I honestly, I think maybe we got confused with when you were going to be here. So why don't you go ahead? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I move the Board of Education to approve the renewal of the Panorama contract as discussed and recommended by F&F Committee.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, great. Thank you. And is there any discussion? Okay. I'm not hearing any this evening. Okay, roll call vote, please. Jenny.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Sloan?
Yes.
Mr. Reynoso?
Yes.
Mr. Nurgi?
Yes.
Mrs. Conlon-Wasik?
No.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack?
No.
Ms. Westfall?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much, Jenny. We're going to move on. E, recommendation to approve the block schedule memorandum of agreement with the Grays Lake Educational Association. Board action is requested. Erin.
No.
I think
Sorry.
it's me.
Where are we? Is this,
They're all Douglas this evening, Kathleen.
Yeah.
they're all Douglas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, mine is a little bit different here. Okay, all right, we'll go to Douglas. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm just reading what I have here and it's a little bit off. Okay, Douglas, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I move the Board of Education to approve the block schedule memorandum of agreement with the Grays Lake Educational Association, the GEA, as discussed and recommended by the F&F Committee.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Sloan?
Yes.
Mr. Reynoso?
Yes.
Mr. Nurgi?
Yes.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack?
Yes.
Mrs. Conlon-Wasik?
Yes.
Ms. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. F, recommendation to approve the testing coordinator memorandum of agreement with Grace Lake Educational Association. Board action is requested. Douglas.
Yes, thank you, Kathleen. I move the Board of Education to approve the testing coordinator memorandum of agreement with the GEA as discussed and recommended by the F&F Committee.
Thank you. I need a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please, Jenny.
Mr. Reynoso?
Yes.
Mr. Nurgi?
Yes.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack?
Yes.
Mrs. Conlon-Wasik?
Yes.
Ms. Westfall?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Mr. Sloan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much, Jenny. Okay, it looks like we're on to District 2021-22 Goals Preview. Michael.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get my screen ready here. Okay. Okay, so looking at our goals for next year, I've tried to put together a few ideas and incorporating what I think district goals might be and kind of incorporating what, as we've had discussions over the last year, what my impression where I think the board may want those goals to go. But so I've got 4 broad areas that could be goals, and then I'm going to go back and get a little bit more specifics as we go. But first of all, next year is going to be the block schedule. That is going to be a bulk of the work that we do in this district, getting that running on a full-time basis. A new going from 50-minute periods to 90-minute periods, 8 periods a day to 4 periods a day. The lunches are going to be different. You know, students on campus, off campus, all of that is going to be really exciting, and I think a really good way a better way, I think, to use our instructional time. So I'll come back to that in a moment. Communication, I kind of bundle communication and community connection. We've talked about that, I think, quite a bit this year. Again, I'll go into some detail there in a second. Equity, diversity, inclusion. I think, you know, as we've been talking about, our equity work this year really mainly was equity of access and making sure everybody had equitable access to their education. But we want to return to equity, diversity, inclusion, really having some good conversations with our staff and our students, and I'll get back to that again in a moment. And the final areas, moving some windows around here, was the sustainability, which Abe talked about. Abe has talked about, and if you remember the Venn diagram, really that's a big project, and I think next year we're going to start it. But again, it's going to be a multi-year project. So I think next year the main goal will be to kind of wrap our arms around what that all means. So I'll go back real quick, and these are not goals, right? The word instruction is not a goal. What are we doing with instruction? So it needs a little more work with that, but along the lines of in the block schedule, how are we using our instructional time effectively? You can't just do, you know, what we did in a 45-minute period twice. It doesn't work like that. It's a different instructional rhythm and flow, and we've already gotten a start with that, as I mentioned with the Institute Day, but there's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be ongoing, and it's going to be for years. Also, we built in time with the schedule for more opportunities for social emotional learning. So again, how do we use that time? Who is presenting to students? How are students interacting? What are our goals over the year for that time as well? That's going to be a big bulk of the work, as I say, for our teachers, our instructional coaches, our administrators, just a whole new instructional model. But of course, we did that about 8 times this year anyway, so you know, what's one more? I'm kidding, of course. It's going to be big, but it's going to be very exciting. Kind of moving again to some details into the community connection. We really want to look at our social media and our website practices, how the website is set up, how we're using social media. That's a big goal for me and I think our district. So we're going to be definitely looking at that. Strengthen the D46 and D127 connection. That's something I've heard the board express interest in, whether it's meeting together with getting the 2 boards together, a joint board meeting or what have you. But that's something I think I'd be interested in hearing from the board again, what specifically, if that is to be a goal, what the board would like with that. I think we're all for it. We already have a really good relationship between the 2 districts, but we can always keep working with it. And also, as we have had discussions over the last year about engaging in a discussion and evaluation of the school resource officer position, and is it what we want? Is it doing what we want? Is it meeting the needs of the district and our students? So I've kind of bundled that again in the community connection piece. Under equity, this is a massive topic. We've already started down this road, of course. But you know, some ideas of some goals would be to establish a safe climate, allowing staff and students to engaging in open conversations and addressing persistent inequities, identifying the root causes of these inequities in our system. Again, we've done quite a bit of analysis and data analysis, but you know, we want to make sure we're doing it systematically and consistently and making sure we are addressing what inequities do exist. We want to focus on the practical applications of culturally responsive teaching for classroom teachers. Again, how does this all play out in the classroom? And how does that affect discussions with our teachers and our students and our support staff? And of course, creating a long-term sustainable plan for systemic transformation. That's the overall goal, of course. Under sustainability, as I had kind of mentioned, articulating our district values, policies, and procedures through, and these three items are the three items on the Venn diagram. So environmental sustainability, social sustainability, and economic sustainability. As I'm sure you remember Abe's presentation, that's a big project, but it's very worthwhile. We've already got a number of initiatives going, but I think the goal or the next step would be to kind of evaluate all of this, this giant lens that we have now, or lenses, plural, kind of evaluating where we're at, and then how do we move forward? How do we make sure it's we're impacting the culture of the district in terms of sustainability, and that's something that we are always constantly having our eyes on. So that's what I have for right now. Generally, our timeline, I think, as we had it, would be to propose some things here, and I can send you, this verbiage as well. At our next meeting, the board, I believe, Kathleen, correct me if I'm wrong, the board would have a discussion about trying to finalize, kind of some of what those goals would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then in August, how do we monitor those? Right?
Yeah.
It's great to say we're going to renew social media and website practices. Like specifically, what does that mean? So if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what kind of what our schedule would be.
That is what we're looking at. The other thing that we have out there is if board members over the next few weeks, I know I had put out there that I'm going to be meeting with board members in the next month, hopefully either having walk and talk or a cup of coffee. And Mikkel, I'm sure you will do the same, and to hear what people have to say. Everyone can get a chance to weigh in, and then we'll do what we did last year, is just kind of put everything together and tie this back to our strategic master plan, and like we did last year, which I don't think we'll have any problem with, and we'll move on. And one of the things that we did talk about, Mikkel, was having for August, actually, once the board comes up with what we want, what we're the big areas that we'll have our lens on, is to have you and your team think a lot about what actually how you guys are want to move this forward, how you would like to see, how you would like to monitor it, where the improvements you can actually live with and work with next year, and then bring that back and we can have a discussion again about it. So it's a little bit different from last year. We're kind of building this out a little bit, but I think it'll be good. Any thoughts at this time, board members?
These are really good goals. I'm excited to see how we, flesh them out and what it actually means in terms of monitoring and all that. Mm-hmm. But Mikkel, I appreciate you bringing this forward to us. I think it shows a lot of the growth that we, as the relationship with the board and with yourself, at least in my time on the board, this is really awesome to see. So thank you.
Thank you, Jay. I can't see all the board members. I don't know if hands are up or if anyone would like to anything to add. Dean, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just in addition to strengthening a connection to D46, CLC is also a huge part of this town. So, I mean, we can leverage their resources in addition to this. And you're already doing a good job of that, but it's just I would actually emphasize not only going to the feeder schools, but also to possibly CLC as well. Part of that. So, and in addition to D46, we are fed by St. Gilbert. We are fed by in some cases Westlake Christian Academy, Prairie Crossing Charter School. So there are other parts of this that we need to incorporate as well.
Yeah. And Woodland, Lake Villa, Milburn.
Yep. Yeah, we are all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fremont in some cases, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, points well taken. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dean. Anyone else? Again, as we said, there'll be a lot more discussion around this over the next month. For those that can't meet, I know a lot of you are desperate to get out of town. I certainly don't blame you. We can also, we can get on that phone, pick up the phone. I think it's really great. I think you guys have listened, and it should be an exciting year. And then I think the other thing that we need to bear in mind, and I think someone said a little bit earlier, is that even though we have these things going on, we're not out of the woods yet on COVID. I mean, we have to, when we're building out our monitoring and what we can do, we got to realize that there'll be other things hitting us as well next year. And I think and we still are reflecting on what happened to us last year, and people are still trying to get over that. So I think going gently this year will be good. Okay. Do you have anything else, Mikkel?
No, that's what I had. Thanks for the feedback. That's very helpful. And we'll kind of flesh these out and put some more meat on the bones here.
Great. Thank you so much. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much to your entire administration, Mikkel. This is fantastic. Thank you. All right, we're getting close here. Item 13, topics for future committee, our board meetings and next meeting reminders. Your reminders are there. And any topics for future conversation?
Will we be getting an update, Mikkel, anytime soon about recording? I know we talked about that, I think, a month and a half ago.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay.
Working on it. Yeah. Just because of, well, we're getting our physical spaces together.
Right.
And we've got different physical spaces, and that actually reminds me, for FNF and P cubed. So getting that, and then starting to think about the AV needs. Just as an FYI, this is kind of off, just kind of a side topic. Our next committee meetings, again, they're going to be in person. And as we heard last time from the board, we would have FNF starting at 6:30. And PQ will start at 7 p.m. So we're going to need 2 separate rooms. 1,500, we will guide you. Don't think you have to memorize this or have a cognitive map going or anything. F squared will be in 1,500, which will be the boardroom as well. We have another room down the hall that we're eyeing, 1,700, which means nothing to you, but it's just a room just out of our little circle for P cubed, and we will make sure we'll get you there. Don't worry.
Thank you. Anyone else? I don't see. Okay. Dean, okay.
Just one quick question. I know historically we've done the FNF and the PQ meetings separated only by a half an hour, but for me it's been very informative, even though I'm not in the PQ meeting, to be able to go from one to the other.
Yeah.
Is there any idea here of changing the meeting time for P cubed? So that, if people don't want to go to both, but there's still, most of the work in FNF seems to get done within an hour. So is it a possibility to change it, or just even, I'm not asking for it to be changed, but has it been thought about?
We talked a lot about it, and we came to a kind of a decision. We didn't want to push it out, and then it wasn't fair for the P cube to start at 7:30. And so this is what we came to, So.
And that's fine. I will probably end up going after the FNF to the PQ meeting just to catch up and see what's going on. But
yeah,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's what we do. Amy, you were on mic there for a moment. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, at one time they were flipped, and then that was really causing havoc. So we flipped it for FNF going first and P cube going second. And then there was some thought of P cube starting at 7:15. So that was a while ago. I think we were doing that, weren't we?
Yeah, and even before that, though, we actually timed how long we had some timing going on with the F square committee, and we found that they were usually over within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I know Douglas isn't happy to hear this, but due to COVID, they've been extended. Okay, I like to say Douglas runs a really tight meeting, but anyway, so we even got to one point we were timing them, and we found pre-COVID, they went pretty quickly. So see how it goes. I usually trot over. I move around myself. So yeah.
Yeah. It was it was only in recent time has it gone over where you couldn't go to both.
Yeah.
Actually, I found that chart comparing, like for a whole year, Janice was doing that. I found that when I was looking through old board stuff.
Yeah. It was fun. So yeah, it's a good question, Dean. But let's see. Maybe we'll start charting it again. We'll see.
And it may be a moot point. It may be done in a half an hour.
Yeah. We'll talk to Douglas about that. We'll put that on Douglas. Anyone else? All righty. Okay. So we just have I think we're done then with that. So next time we meet, we'll meet in person, which is going to be really wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. Item 14, closed session. What we do, the board does have a meeting to enter closed session, second closed session as allowed under school code for the following reasons: cybersecurity and superintendent goals and evaluation. So I do need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Jay. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. Roll call vote, please, Jenny.
Mrs. Conlon-Wasick?
Yep.
Mrs. Knutson-Strack?
Yes.
Mr. Nergy?
Yes.
Mr. Reynoso? Mr. Sloan?
Yes.
Mr. Thorson?
Yes.
Ms. Westphal?
Yes.
Motion carries. There will be no action coming out of closed session. So if people would like to, well, anyway, Nicole, if you would like to give your staff an option to bail.
So we are going into closed session. No, as Kathleen mentioned, no actions coming out. But for cybersecurity, if I could have Abe and Tracy and Jessica. Anybody else, again, you're more than welcome to stay in the open session, but you don't need to. Please don't. Please go have an evening. That would be great. So in a second, I'll set up a room and I'll get everybody kind of off into that.
Nicole, would you like 5 minutes to set up?
That'd be great, actually.
You would? Okay, so
Yeah.
everyone take 5. Thanks, guys.
Good night,
Hi,
everybody.
guys. Take care.
Take care.
Good night. Have a good vacation,
Bye.
Douglas.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.